Welcome back to Rick and Rob Radio Rockstars. Today we have Matt Mogk from the Zombie Research Society. He's the founding member. So, we'll just dive right into it. When did you first become interested in zombies, and what outlets did you pursue?
Right, yeah. Well, I've always been obsessed with zombies. So, I don't, it's probably since birth, basically. But I kind of came into it through the film side. I actually got my master's degree in film from NYU University or New York University, and studied horror and cinema, and actually did my master's thesis on zombies. So I kind of got a film background in it. But at some point along the way, after that, I kind of realized that I've never been as scared watching any zombie movie as I thought I would be in a real zombie outbreak. Like I kind of thought, the movies never really made it, even though I like a lot of them. They never really made it look as bad as I thought it probably would be. So That's kind of how the zombie research started. Basically, I said, okay, well, if a zombie were to really show up at your front door, and not like a video game, but like in real life, if a zombie actually showed up, what would it look like? What would it sound like? How would it hunt you? How would its brain work? And then, from there, kind of extrapolate survival strategies. So that's kind of how. That's how the advisory board ended up being put together, because I would just call up different experts in different fields and ask them different questions, and pretty much everybody was willing to help me. But it turned out some people were actually really into zombies. So I call up some leading neuroscientist and ask him some obscure question about zombies, and it turns out he's totally obsessed with zombies too. We say the modern zombie is a relentlessly aggressive, reanimated human corpse driven by a biological infection. Now that's really important, because one of the things that makes zombies really unique to all other monsters is that they're not based on some ancient superstition or myth. They're fairly modern, invention, and so they're really based in biology and science, and that's kind of how we can even study them at all.
Well, it's definitely cool that you guys are the advisory board collaborates on sort of specific guidelines, because a lot of things get muddled, and
that's kind of, I think, what makes zombies really cool. Is that you can have these serious questions. It's all theory. We don't have a zombie we can dissect, but you can kind of really ask, okay, well, if there's an infection that really goes haywire, how would this really work? Well, we have two neuroscientists on the board, on the advisory board, and they've actually developed a 3D model of the zombie brain. And they've got a whole theory about, how the brain would function, what areas are functioning, based on zombie behavior. And they've done it for the slow zombie, traditional slow zombie, and the fast zombie. Because the way that you figure out what parts of the brain are working is by observing behavior. We still don't know a ton about the brain. So, they do this in their professional lives with diseases, Parkinson's and other serious diseases. So now they've applied it to zombies. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Another one of our board members is an expert in international politics. And he's written a book called Theories of International Politics and Zombies. And it's a serious academic study published by Princeton University Press on how different governments would deal with a zombie outbreak. So, that's kind of something he's doing. Yeah. So it's, I don't think we're all kind of moving in the same direction, but I think the cool thing about it is everybody is kind of within their area of expertise. They're kind of doing their own thing to advance. Our stated goal is to advance zombie scholarship and respect in the arts and sciences. I actually just had a book come out through Simon & Schuster a couple weeks back called Everything You Ever Want to Know About Zombies.
Yeah.
And it really, it covered, I interviewed everybody on the board, obviously, but also a ton of other experts, and from Homeland Security officials to leading public health disaster experts. And so that's got a ton of information. It basically kind of covers everything that Zombie Research Society has done over the past 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
But to answer your question about where we're kind of going or what's next, it looks like we're going to have another book coming out that is a series of essays by all the advisory board in their area of expertise, and also some other experts in there. And what I think will make it cool is that it's going to be fictional essays by real experts. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up a zombie outbreak scenario. We're going to say, okay, here's the infection, here's how it spreads. We're going to develop a whole mathematical model for here's what this fictional infection is doing, and here's how many countries are infected, and blah, 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 right?
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to have each expert write an essay as if they're dealing with it in their area of expertise. So
Okay.
it's not going to be like, oh, if zombies were to come, this is how we would deal with it from an international politics perspective. It's actually the international politics guy talking about it as if it's happening right now. So it's almost like almost like a real world World War Z kind of thing.
Will that
Yeah.
take into account, um, the rate at which the infection occurs and the
Absolutely. Yep. And
because
that's the cool thing. Yep.
yeah, because
Go ahead.
sometimes you wonder if it will really spread as far as it does in some movies and shows. Sometimes you
Yeah.
think it could be contained, but a lot of
Yep.
them just jump to the national outbreak.
I totally agree with you. Almost every zombie movie, you see like the first person get bitten by a zombie, and then all of a sudden it's the complete end of the world.
Yeah.
But if you look, it's like they jump to the end of the world. Even The Walking Dead, right? This guy gets shot. The cop gets shot before any zombies come. Rick Grimes gets shot, and then he wakes up in the hospital, and literally like the whole world's dead. I mean, how long was he? He didn't have a water drip, so if he was passed out for more than 10 or 15 days, he would have been dead from dehydration.
Yeah, they definitely a lot of, and this isn't just The Walking Dead, just that seems to be the mark that is missed. Showing the progression of the disease,
Yeah.
and it's almost like a cop out. And I want to
Yeah.
see it slowly. I want to see like a town in their last offense, like losing the line, and
Right.
and falling back. I
Yeah,
think
or
it'd
even
be,
if you look at something like Contagion, and I don't know if you saw that movie,
I haven't, but I'm
but
aware of it. Yeah.
okay, yeah, but even this idea that it really is like an infectious disease. I mean, it's just like a really extreme form of the flu, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
if you really look at it, obviously not airborne, but a really extreme example of any sort of bloodborne illness, and so I feel like there's a lot of opportunities missed, and you can have a lot of fun playing in that space where it's like, look, we know it exists, like the whole world knows that zombies are around, but it hasn't taken over the world yet. You know what I mean? It kind of is developing slowly, and there are little outbreaks here and there, and it's flare-ups, and there are rumors going around, and people think it's carried by dogs, and everybody in a town like kills all their dogs,
But yeah, and then just on the matter of we brought up the running zombies, I definitely think Walking Dead has hit it on the head with their portrayal of like they're quick, but they're not like the Dawn of the Dead remake, bull like running at you,
Right.
So
It's the one thing, and they are a little quick. I agree with you. That's in the first episode of this season when they hid underneath. And I know it's I've read the graphic novel too, so I know
Yeah.
some of this stuff is the same. But I'm just going by the TV show. When they see him come, you see zombies coming down the street through binoculars, right?
uh-huh.
And then you're like, oh, quick, everybody hide under the cars, rather than like, hey, let's just walk briskly away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can really get away from them pretty easily.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, did you see that clip of World War Z that's sort of been leaked on the internet?
No, I wasn't aware of it at all.
Yeah, it looks like they're making them fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to seeing that movie.
Yeah, they're shooting it right now. It should be interesting, but I know that I know Max Brooks is a big proponent of slow zombies, and they were the slow zombies in his book, and it's interesting to see that they're making them fast.
So the Zombie Research Society also, I mean, it's got a pretty good community, and there's the safe house and like local chapters.
Right.
So I mean, how has that been for you? And like, does that help kind of, we were like, if there was an actual outbreak, would this help us kind of, figure out what we're gonna do in that situation? Like, how's the community been?
Yeah, I think it's been really good, and I mean, I think that there are two things. One is I think zombie survival is all local, right? So the Phoenix, I live in Los Angeles. The Phoenix chapter of ZRS is not going to help me at all in a zombie outbreak.
Right.
But it will help the people in the Phoenix chapter, So that's one cool thing I think about the local chapters. And the other thing I would say is that just having the conversation about preparedness and what you need to do and things like that is really important.
Yeah.
So the fact that people are online talking about it and hopefully getting ready a little bit, because basically once zombies actually come, it's run and scream time. There's no more time to talk about what's the best thing to do and get prepared and go stock up on water. It's game over.